Hello and welcome to the channel. I am your host, Travieso Americano. Please like, comment, and subscribe so you can keep getting this awesome content. And happy NFL opening day to all of you. Today is the opening day in the NFL. I love the players. I love the games. I hate Roger Goodell and I hate the management. The NFL management, especially Roger Goodell. Man, he's a turd. And since Roger is such a turd, let's do something to tick him off. Let's call today Deshaun Watson Appreciation Day. Yes, despite the fact that Deshaun, he beat all his legal troubles, he was basically found super innocent. I'll explain why he was found super innocent in a second. But he was basically found super innocent, but that's not good enough for old Roger. As you can see in the article I posted there, on the screen, and it is from a couple weeks ago, but I thought I'd bring it up again just to kind of give you an overview of how the NFL works and how bad Roger actually is. But Roger Goodell, he doesn't care what the U.S. judicial system said about Deshaun. Nope. He doesn't care if he was found super innocent, basically. Roger thinks it's the right thing to do to give him a full year suspension. A full year suspension. He probably wanted a fine as well because he has some special evidence. Now, I will tell you all about his special evidence and why it's not special at all, and it's in fact quite faulty. And we'll get to that here in a second. But that's Roger's beef. And Roger needs to focus on Roger. He needs to focus on himself. He is one of the worst, if not the worst, commissioner in NFL history and maybe sports history. There are some pretty bad commissioners in the early days of baseball, but Goodell, my lord, he's just awful left and right. So he's just every decision he makes is bad, every single one. And this all kind of started. He was making bad decisions before this, but this all kind of started with Colin Kaepernick. If he had nipped that in the bud, and obviously he might not have known when Colin was going to kneel the first time. Presumably he didn't know. If he knew, he should have nipped it in the bud then. But after it happened, he should have said, no, that's not happening in the NFL. You don't want to come out for the anthem? Fine, stay back in the locker room, but we're not putting that on television. See, the NFL was apolitical. It was one of the few things in the United States that was apolitical, where people could come together at the water cooler and talk about things even though they disagreed on 1,000 other issues. And what did old Goodell do? He decided he didn't like that. He was going to get political. He was going to show everyone that he was the good guy despite all his bad decisions. Well, since then, the NFL has been hemorrhaging both viewers and money because no one wanted something political. When you watch sports, the whole reason is to escape. You don't want the politics. The left, it blasts us with it all day anyway, every single place you go. And Roger Goodell decided to make the NFL a part of that. But what's worse is he painted a target on the NFL's back, on his own organization's back. A big old target. And so now every leftist political group shakes down the NFL for millions and millions of dollars, all because Roger Goodell wasn't a strong individual and is a bad administrator. That's the reason. The league is hemorrhaging money because of him, all because of this man. I did a video yesterday. The National Organization of Women is shaking down the NFL over a 1.5 old issue. A 1.5 old issue, and the NFL's getting shaken down by it. How about all those BLM houses that are under scrutiny that were paid for with charity dollars, with donation dollars, all those cars? How much of that was league money? What do you think the NFL owners think about that? It's something they should start thinking about. And it's only going to get worse. This is only going to get worse. When the National Organization of Women is shaking you down for a 1.5 old issue, everybody's going to start coming out of the woodwork. And this is all because Roger Goodell despises the Constitution. He despises rule of law. He despises basic human rights. Innocent until proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty. And not only was Deshaun proven innocent, super innocent, right? That's not good enough for Goodell. Deshaun was proven super innocent, but Goodell still wants to punish him because he doesn't believe in the rule, or well, he doesn't believe in the rule of law because he doesn't believe in basic human rights. And you know how I believe that's true? You know how I know that's true? Look how the NFL acted with the concussions. Look how they acted with the concussions. It took them years, and only when the league had it was at an existential threat did they do things. They knew players were being hurt, and they didn't care. And Goodell was part of that group. Goodell was part of that group. So I thought we named today after his latest failure. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? You see, what's happening here, and the reason why Goodell is doing all this, is because Roger is punishing Deshaun Watson for Roger's own mistakes. See, Roger was a bad manager, a bad administrator back during the Ray Rice scandal. He made a lot of mistakes during that. So, because he made mistakes there, and his ego was bruised, and he cares so much what people think, my Lord, that man, every time you hear him talk, you can tell he cares what everyone in the world thinks about him. You can't be a good administrator if you care what people think. You can't be a good executive if you care what people think. That leads to inefficiency. That leads to problems. That leads to the NFL that was once a cash cow, that once printed money, being in the desperate state that it's in now. No, Roger Goodell made mistakes with that, and so he decided to use Deshaun as a way to show that he's the good guy. Once again, he's trying to look like the good guy with bad decisions. It doesn't make any sense. What he's missing, or maybe he's not missing it, he's just using the situation, is that the Ray Rice situation, the Ray Rice problem, was demonstrably different than what happened with Deshaun. You see, Ray Rice, that was an act of violence, number one. That was an act of violence. There's no violence alleged anywhere that I'm aware of against Deshaun Watson. And everything that was nonviolent, he's been acquitted of 100%. He didn't even need to be acquitted. He wasn't even indicted. We'll get to that in a second, like I said. Now, you see, what happened with Ray Rice was violent, and it happened on a camera that the public all saw. And what happened then? What bad decisions did Roger make? Roger made bad decisions in basically protecting Ray. So he protected the bad guy in that situation, but here, where there's been the criminal judicial process has gone through completely. It's gone through completely. There's nothing left. Because of that, there's civil cases left if that's an issue, but there's nothing left on the criminal side. Okay? After all that, and Deshaun Watson not even being indicted, and we're going to go to that now, Goodell still wants to punish him because he's got his special evidence. He's got his special evidence, he's a dimwit. And he's painting a target on players' backs, and I'll tell you why in a second. But he's certainly painting a target on their backs. But Deshaun Watson is innocent. He's super innocent. He was not indicted by a grand jury. Okay? Now, first off, you're probably thinking, what about all the accusers? What about all the accusers? Okay, there were a lot of accusers. So what? George Soros pays thousands to accusers to liars every day. He's got hundreds of fake journalists, fake news websites where he pays fake journalists to write fake news. He pays liars. He pays people to protest. He gets busloads of them and pays them money to protest. They weren't going to protest otherwise. That's liars. I can find thousands of liars that I can pay. Okay? I can find that. That's not difficult, okay? But this was the grand jury. Okay? And grand juries will indict a ham sandwich. That's an old law joke, but it's true. A grand jury will indict a ham sandwich. The bar is so low for indictment. An indictment just means that the case continues and goes to trial, and a typical trial like you see in the television shows. But what a grand jury is 9, 12, 15, whatever the number is in the jurisdiction, that many number of people, right? And what they do is they take a look at all the evidence, and they say whether they think that there is even a possibility that a crime was committed by Deshaun. Even a 1% possibility. And not only that, they look at the evidence, only the prosecutors put forth evidence. This is one-sided. The defense doesn't put forth evidence. The defense isn't, and generally isn't there. It certainly wasn't in Deshaun's case. So what happened was the prosecutors put forth all their best evidence, all the best non-faulty evidence forward. And a grand jury that will generally indict a ham sandwich, out of all those accusers, didn't indict him on a single thing. Not one single crime. Not one. But that wasn't good enough for Goodell. No, being super innocent, I mean, like I said, Watson, it wasn't even a 1%. The jury pretty much said, we don't think Watson did any crime whatsoever. Not, he probably didn't do it. We don't think there's any chance he did a crime. That wasn't good enough for Goodell. So what does Goodell do? Well, he takes the judicial system into his own hands. Of course he does, because he's Roger Goodell. You know, he's been besmirched. He needs to clear his good name. Clear his good name of his bad decisions. So what does he do? He appoints his own judge. He appoints his own judge. A former federal judge, in fact. A former federal female judge. He appoints. The judge looks at everything, including his special evidence, and she placates him. She placates Roger. Roger wanted over a year ban. He said in this at least a year. He wanted, I guarantee you, he was pushing for 2 years. In this, he says 1 year. He wanted a year ban. His own appointed judge. So he's trying to play judge and jury here. Judge, jury, and prosecutor. Amazing. His own judge says, well, there's egregious evidence. That's where she's stroking his ego. That's where she's stroking Roger's ego. And gives him 6 games. See, when you're being paid by one party of a dispute, you have to do something. You know, she had to give him at least 6 games. That was pretty much the lowest possible. 6 games really means she didn't see that anything was wrong. She didn't see that anything was wrong. Okay? But that still wasn't good enough. So Goodell's got his own judge that he appointed who ruled against him, and that's not good enough. Nope. He appeals his own judge. So what does he do? He appeals his own judge, and he appoints another judge. And who is this judge? This judge is a former attorney general, and he's chair of the NFL's Diversity and Inclusiveness Council. I don't know what that is. I will say this. If you need a diversity council, maybe, generally speaking, you don't need that when you have a meritocracy. See, when you have a legitimate meritocracy, where people are promoted and pushed up based on their actions, based on their experience, based on the good things that they do, you don't need a diversity council. See, you only need a diversity council when you don't have a meritocracy, and I'll let someone argue against that one. Go ahead, left. Try to argue against that one. But in any case, he had all this special evidence, Goodell did. This special Halloween evidence, ghostly evidence that he won't show. So he appoints us his own judge. And this guy still doesn't give Goodell his year. See, he negotiates with the NFLPA and Deshaun Watson. And just think about this for a second. Goodell's trying to set up this quasi-judicial system where he has his judge as the mediator, but he's paying him and he's works for the NFL. So the judge is paid and works for the NFL. And he's also the mediator. And still, Goodell doesn't get what he wants. Goodell still doesn't get what he wants. Deshaun Watson gets an 11-game suspension and a $5 million fine. Frankly, it should have been 0. And the reason I said that Goodell is painting a target on the back of players, every single fake accuser is going to come out of the woodwork. We're going to see fake accusations from here to Omaha, you know? That's how it's going to go down. Because Roger Goodell didn't want to take responsibility for Roger Goodell's own decisions and poor management. And that's what's going to happen. But here's even the funniest part. Roger Goodell and the NFL won't even get that fine money from Deshaun Watson. No, they don't get that money. That money has to go to pay off all the political shakedowns that are going on right now, like the National Organization of Women. It's got to go to pay all that down. So he doesn't even get that money. So that's kind of where we are. The NFL's paying grifters. That we need to get a new, or the owners need to get a new commissioner in a bad way. In any case, happy Deshaun Watson Day. Enjoy the players, enjoy the teams, enjoy the plays. Hate the management, hate the executives, and don't buy as much of their merchandise anymore. I hope you had a great day. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe, please, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.